for the shade, can't stop my life. MCM fit the body up nice. All black men's make a man look twice. Self-love. Dope, stay blessed, and I think up above. Your ear this, she thinks she the shit. Post, take a flick. Yes, I'm full of it.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of the ProMama Podcast. I am floored that we are here. Usually at the start of episodes, I'm like, this is episode, and I could just run it off of the top of my head. But now I'm like, hold on, what is this? Because at this time, I have a catalog. I have a library of podcasts that you can check out. So if you're new here, don't fret. You can catch up on the previous shows. But this is the show. We are going to have a key because I'm so excited for my pro mama of today, Dr. Dawn Hicks Tafari. And, I'm going to say this. I'm going to give a disclaimer. When you think people aren't watching and then you get a little message or a little side note of encouragement, that's what happened here. Because I never know, the reach. I share with my friends, my family, my community. But when someone is like, oh no, I listen to every episode, I'm like, first of all, y'all doing better than my mama. That's what I told. Because my mama's always like, I'm a listen. But this really touched my heart, not only because she said, I really listen and I watch and I see you, and the encouraging words and just affirming me in this project that I didn't know what it would be. It feels so good and it filled my bucket. But enough of me gushing, because I could do that all for the whole time. So you know how I like to do. I like it when my pro mamas come on the podcast and give their pro mama stats, because who is better to run their resume than themselves? And also it gives them a chance to really think of the great accomplishments that they've done. So I keep wanting to say Soror Dawn because she is my sorority sister. We are members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We are both initiated in the Kappa Phi chapter at Hofstra University. But today I'm going to remember Dr. Dawn. Dr. Tafari, I want you to start off with giving us your pro mama stats. That's the ages and genders of your children, and tell us your role. Give us what makes you a pro mama.
All right. Well, hey, it is so awesome to be here. I'm excited to be a guest on this awesome podcast with this awesome woman. So, I'm Dr. Dawn Hicks Tafari. I have 2 amazing and brilliant and beautiful daughters, young adult daughters. My oldest daughter, my firstborn, the one who made me a mama, is 25. Her birthday is in December, so she's got a little way before she's 26. And my youngest is, how old is she? She was born in 20. She's born in 2005. She's 20. She's going to hear this. So 25 and 20 are the ages of my daughters. And I have a BA in psychology with a minor in anthropology from Hofstra University.
Let's go.
And Master of Arts in Teaching with certification in elementary ed from Johns Hopkins University. And I have a PhD in educational studies with a concentration in cultural studies, as well as a post-baccalaureate certificate in women's and gender studies from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. I currently serve as I'm a full professor at Winston-Salem State University. I also am the Willie Blue Bradshaw Distinguished Professor in Education in the Department of Ed. And I also am the Program Coordinator for Elementary Education at Winston-Salem State University. So I got a lot of hats. Those are my professional stats.
And that's just one that was a mouthful, and that was just one bucket. That's just you didn't even talk about passion and community and other things, which we're going to get into later. But even just giving those stats about your career and your journey, because I love to map out a career as a journey, because some people see it as a full stop. And even with me at this point in my career, I think about the things that I still want to do, the things that are on the bucket list. So I love viewing career as a journey, being able to pivot or expand. You said you have a 25 and 20-year-old. So it sounds like they've been with you as part of this journey of your career. Can you talk about how that was, especially in the beginning stage as a first-time mom pursuing your doctorate?
Absolutely. I was an elementary school teacher when I got married. And then I decided, I started teaching at community college, and I realized I had something to offer, right? My now ex-husband he had gotten his doctorate while we were married, and I saw how people reacted to him, right? They wanted to talk to Dr.
Mm,
Tafari, you know what I mean?
right.
And so I was like, let me see. And this may be something I need to do because I have a voice, and I knew I had some very quality things that I wanted to do in the consulting world, right? And I knew when I got a little taste of higher ed, I really wanted to jump up and teach in higher ed. And so when I got my doctorate, when I started my doctoral program, my oldest daughter was 2008. So my oldest daughter was 8 and my youngest was 3.
Wow.
And when I thought about it, I went to like I said, my then husband, and I told him, I said, I'm really thinking about doing my doctorate. And he was like, okay, it's hard. And I was like,
I can
yeah,
do
I know
hard
it's hard. And
things.
that's why I'm coming to talk to you because I want to know if I have your support. And then he said, well, of course you have my support. I said, no, I want to know if I have your support. Like, I may not be able to take the girls to Girl Scouts sometimes. I may need help. I may need you to cook dinner. I'm going to need, maybe you may need to put them to bed. I'm going to have class. So I need to know that you're going to be available. And he really appreciated me making it plain and clear because a lot
Yes.
of times we ask people for support, but we don't spell out. We don't tell them what support looks like. And so when I had that conversation, then that helped him sit back and be like, okay. And one of the things I actually kind of appreciated he said to me was, well, you got a lot. You already do a lot, right? Because I was dancing with a West African dance company. I was building a Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective, doing a lot of community work. And he says, I need time too. And this is what he said to me. He said, I need time too. He said, and so you're going to add something else to your plate. I feel like something's got to give. And I don't want it to be me.
Something gotta give.
And so I thought about that. First, I was like, what's wrong with you? But and I thought about he was being honest, right? And so I stopped dancing at the time with the company. Like I didn't stop dancing, period, but I stopped dancing with the companies, just practice rehearsals and performances and things like that, so that I can make room for this PhD program in my life. I also talked to one of my good friends, Jamila Niera, and she was like, sis, what you need? What you need? You need me to babysit? And I said, no, I think, the husband got that, but I may need you. I may need you. I may need to tag you in wherever. And she was like, I got you. And so at the beginning of my journey, I activated my village, right? I let people know what I needed. I let people know what I was about to do. Those closest to me who I knew could help me, right? I ain't tell everybody, hey, I'm about to, like, I knew the people who were closest to me. And I said, I may need you in this way. And that was the most important thing because they never let me down, throughout the journey. So when I was stressed, my sis would come and she would say, you need to just talk this through because in a doctoral program, you're reading so much and you're learning so much, the theories, and your head gets clogged that sometimes you just need to get it out.
Yeah.
Almost like, clear the drain, right? And so she would sit with me and let me vent, like I said, if I needed to work on something, my ex would take the girls to Girl Scouts. Another thing that I did, because I didn't want to miss out on those years while I was pursuing this doctorate, I would pack up my laptop and take them to Girl Scouts, which was in a church. And then while they were in their room, I would find an empty room in the church and sit and read and work on my papers. And so that was the way that I balanced it through tagging in, the significant people in my life, and by figuring out when I can multitask. I would sit in the room with them while they were watching Dora the Explorer or SpongeBob and read and write. So I would be in the same space. And then, of course, I would work when they went to sleep. So that was kind of how I activated my village while I was working on the doctorate. And that you have those people in place and those processes. Once I finished the doctorate, moving into higher ed, it was the same thing. Just letting people know, hey, I need you here, or I need you here, or I can bring the kids to this, or, however I needed to navigate that.
You dropped so many nuggets. I'm here taking notes. Like, I don't play. I'm getting it. Like, because I don't want to miss anything. So one of the things that stood out to me was you told your partner what the goal was, and you made it plain and explicit of what you needed. So I want to highlight that even though you guys are in the same household, he is also the parent. You had to spell out the role that mama was carrying that he probably just kind of overlooked or didn't know the logistics it took for the girls to be involved in a Girl Scout. What did that mean for your weekends? What did that mean for your time commitment? And you were clear.
You
So
have to be clear. I find so often, I think that we get stuck in things because we're not, we always say you got to ask for help. And we hear a lot of Black women say, I don't know how to ask for help. But you can't just ask for help. You got to tell people specifically what you need. Because I can't blame him because he's thinking, of course you have my support. Yay, cheerleader from the back.
cheer.
I was like, no, let me tell you what that means.
Yes.
Let me be specific. And then that way he's able to really, and that partner is able to really provide the support that you need in the way you need it. And we don't want to set our partners up to fail us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? We don't want to set our friends up to fail us. Yeah.
So I tell, for example, hyper-independent mamas, hyper-independent people, right? So people will extend help, but sometimes your mind can't even take a pause to think about what you need in that moment. So I always tell people, especially new moms, put a list on your fridge. So when someone comes over and asks, how can I help? Because everyone doesn't like the same help. I would love for one of my friends to do the dishes before they leave. But some people like their dishes done a certain way. I don't like people folding my clothes because I like to fold in a certain way. But some other people be like, girl, can you fold these clothes? So knowing what you need or what you would like to help with is a good thing to think about in advance. Yes. Before someone asks. So you're not like, you know what? Or you're not like, damn, I did need help. I would have loved if someone can pick up the kids this day because I want to go to a book club or something like that.
Or don't turn down the help. Say, you know what? Let me think about that.
Think about it.
I think I do need help. I'm not sure exactly how. Let me think about that and get back to you in a week or in a couple of days. You know what I mean? Because then somebody has moved on. But if you say, let me think about that, or let's brainstorm, be like, friend, I really do need help. I'm not just sure how I need it. What do you see? Is there something that you see you think I may need help with? And they say, well, I could do your clothes. And be like, no, it's not the clothes. But you can do the dishes for me.
Yeah, exactly.
You could pick the girl. I don't need you to babysit, but if you could just pick them up and get them from A to B, that would be amazing. So
yeah, exactly. I definitely agree. So I also tell people who are dealing with hyper independent mom friends or colleagues or partners, if you can tell that they need help or they are overwhelmed or drowning, offer the ways you can help, because that may pique something to make them think, actually, picking them up would free up some time and I don't have to move the car and look for parking. Actually, that's pretty great. Just giving them that time, like a brainstorm session and insight. I think that's amazing. Yeah. So I have to admit something. You did something that I find very, very hard, and you gave in to the something gotta give. I am a piler. So even this podcast, I'm new to podcasting, but I came in with ambitious goals and what I was going to do. And I underestimated how much time it would take to edit, because I really care about it, to edit, to do the social media thing, because now you can't just throw up audio. You got to engage. So I'm doing this and doing that. And I didn't think about what has to give. And then in recent weeks, like a past week or so, I was feeling a little overwhelmed. And I realized it's because this is a new item on my plate and I haven't really made contingencies to take something off. So how did you choose dance, which I know it might sound like a hobby to some, right, but it's a lifestyle for you, right? How did you choose that to remove or to pause? How did you choose to pause that?
So I thought, first of all, I prioritized. I thought about the things that I absolutely have to do, right? What are the things that are required of me as a mother, as a caretaker, all of those things. And then I thought about the things that I did that, and yes, dance, it fuels me. It's part of who I am. But It was the only thing that was kind of sort of optional, right? And that it didn't require me to give it all the way up. What I said was, if I think creatively, how can I just shift how I do it? So I can adjust my commitment to dance, because dancing with a company is a whole commitment, right? There are
Right.
rehearsals, multiple rehearsals a week. There's performances, right? That require sometimes the whole day, maybe sometime an overnight stay, so that kind of commitment versus I'll just go take dance classes. And so that way I can still move and still be engaged with the art, but not with the same kind of commitment that I had. And I did not want to. And like I said, I appreciated him bringing that to the forefront because I didn't want to be overwhelmed and I didn't want to be overburdened. I was trying to figure out how was I now going to do a PhD in addition to mothering and community work and dancing and all that stuff. I had to make the space. So sometimes it's helpful when somebody else says, hey, you need to make space. And this is what I recommend. Maybe that's the thing that you give up. It was helpful, but that was the thing is I had to be honest, right? It's about self-awareness, right? When we live these lives, we're doing stuff and sometimes we're not paying attention to the things that we're doing. We're very self-aware. We spend so much time looking and talking to other people instead of saying, okay, I can do this differently. I should do this differently. I'm overwhelmed. I'm about to burn out. I'm about to crash out, right? We can say, right? So that's what it was. It was a moment of self-awareness. What is the thing that I can give up? And acknowledging that something has to give.
So my question is, for the people, how do we as women, as mothers, create a space to receive the feedback, right? So like, for example, my mom will say, well, I thought that would be too much, but I didn't want to say nothing because you seem so excited. Or like, I didn't want to burst your bubble. How do we create a space where our community and our loved ones can have a real talk with us or feel free or open to do things like that without crushing our dream? Because it seems like it was very supportive, but it just shed a light on something. It wasn't like, you ain't going to be able to do it, but it was like, okay, sure. But what are you going to do? What has to give?
Yeah. So I live my life really, I use the Nguzo Saba as a framework, right? For not just, I don't just play Kwanzaa, December
The 7
20th,
principles of Kwanzaa.
right? I don't just play Kwanzaa, right? These 7 principles, I really have embraced them as a framework for how I live and navigate the world, right? My everyday. And so the first principle, Umoja, right? Unity in the community, unity within, right? Am I aligned? What I say my spiritual walk is it aligned with my professional walk? The stuff I'm doing in the community, are those things aligned, right? The things I say, do I have integrity? Right? Do I do the same things that I say I'm going to do even when nobody's watching? The second principle is self-determination, right? The awareness, the love for myself, the care. But that third principle is Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility. If you say, people like to throw around the term village, but part of having a village is being part of the village. It is about give and take. It's not just saying, oh, I'm going to support you and I'm going to support you. It's allowing people to support you. So when I say I'm part of a village, when I'm activating my village, I have to acknowledge it starts with that alignment and that self-awareness and that self-love and that desire to be better for my community. But in that, it requires a vulnerability. It requires a transparency. You have to open yourself up for the help. It's about practicing what you preach. It's like if you go into the doctor, I know the sister you had on the medical doctor a couple of episodes back. If I'm going to the doctor, I can't go to the doctor and be like, doctor, fix me. I have to tell her what's wrong. Right. And I got to be honest. And I got to be willing for her to say, okay, I may need you, let me examine you, which is hard, right? Because you got to, especially if it's an OBGYN.
Be vulnerable.
But I gotta be, if I'm trying to say, listen, I got a little burn down there, or my stomach is growing and I don't know why it's growing. She may be like, girl, let me, you gotta be open. You gotta be willing to let her tend to you, right? I gotta be willing, again, to be open and honest about what I need. And then when she offers her help, I gotta be willing to take it. Because if I go to the doctor and say, I got this bad cough, and she's like, okay, well, take this medicine, take 2 of these and call me in the morning. And I don't take 2 of those. Well, why'd you bother going to the doctor? Mind your business then. Go on in the corner and be all hyper independent, right? And so that's what I said. Being part of the village is just that. It's about being vulnerable. It's about being open. It's about not just the willingness to help others, but the willingness to let others help you. And that's where it starts, right? If you say you got to practice what you preach. We like to throw around that term village, but are you
We
really part of the
do.
village? Are you playing? Are you playing
Are you
village
playing?
after school
No, that's
in the
real.
sandbox?
That's real. So collective work and responsibility. You gave us a mini Kwanzaa lesson. So that actually helps me go straight into the amazing work you're doing with the Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective. Tell me how that came about and how did you become basically a community mother, feeding and filling the buckets of those in your community?
I started celebrating Kwanzaa consistently probably in like 1999. And it became a big part of my life where I would invite people over. And when I lived in Baltimore, I was a part of a beautiful collective in Kofa Dance Theater. And we were a family. And we would celebrate like each night of Kwanzaa. We would go, each different ones of us would host.
The
And we had a
host.
massive Kwanzaa celebration in the city. And then when I moved to Greensboro, I would seek out the Kwanzaa celebrations and then there just wasn't enough. So I was like, I would invite people over my house and we have Kwanzaa. And then I noticed that my house was getting packed out. And I was like, whoa. And I'm talking to one of my good sister friends and she's like, girl, yes, maybe we should do something public. So we're talking about maybe having a citywide, a public celebration, and then just to help feed the community. And I'm talking about emotionally and
Emotional.
mentally, right? And spiritually. And so about sharing this love. And I'm an educator, right? I'm an educator. So in
Naturally.
all the assets of what I do. So I met another sis in dance class. I was in dance class and she was like, oh, yeah. We just having these conversations, the three of us. And so we decided to meet. And that was in 2010. We had our meeting and then we were like, let's do it. And we started putting the pieces in place and we all brought something to the table. We were all transplants to Greensboro. Sister Nia is from California. Mama J or Jamila, she's from Maryland, Connecticut, Maryland. And I'm from the Bronx and, I lived in Baltimore. And so we just saw a need, there was no 7-day Kwanzaa celebration in Greensboro. There was one in Winston-Salem and one in Durham. And Winston-Salem's about 45 minutes that way, and Durham about 60 minutes that the other way. And in December, the roads are
The
sometimes
weather,
icy.
yeah.
So you don't always want to have to, travel that far to go to a Kwanzaa celebration. So we were like, Greensboro's the third largest city in North Carolina. Let's do it, and if for nobody else, for us, so that our families, let's just do it. And then maybe the people will come. And we just celebrated 15 years.
That's
This past Kwanzaa,
amazing.
it's been amazing, the reception that we've had, and in large part because our Kwanzaa celebration is not just a Kwanzaa celebration, right? Like we have become community mamas, all of us, because we participate in other people's events, support, Juneteenth celebration. We do a healing wheel retreat for Black women every Labor Day weekend. We demonstrate what it looks like to live these principles, right? What we call Kwanzaa 365. So part of the reason I'm able to do that is because of my village, right? I don't do it alone. These are women who I have partnered with in mothering, right? We take care of each other's children. We support one another when things are rough, right? When times are hard, when our children need. I remember I'm a Yoruba practitioner, and I remember my oldest daughter, who identifies as Christian, I wanted her to get a reading. I'd asked her to get a reading. And so she says to me, okay, do you mind if I talk to Mama Tanya about that first? And Mama Tanya is another one of the community members, mamas, right? She's one of the members of the Greensboro Kwanzaa Collective who had was raised Christian and very steep in the church and does some Yoruba, well, rather Kemetic faith work, right? And so I thought it was awesome that I asked her to do something. And in her pondering, she wanted to talk to one of her aunties.
For advisement.
And I was
love
like,
that.
I want to cry. Yes, talk to Mama Tanya because she can bring another perspective. I had to be okay with that, right? I don't know all the answers. And I knew that Mama Tanya, who she trusted, my daughter trusted, would give her good advice, could help her ponder that, help her see both sides and why this might be something that would be beneficial or not. So that's it. It's about really just, again, supporting in that village, activating that village.
That's great that you felt honored and joy that she was able to seek advice from someone else instead of feeling like defeated, like why doesn't she want to come to me or why does she have to ask someone else? But that speaks to what the actual collective community work is. And yes, you have your mother, your bio mother, but you should have trusted people in your community that your parents trust, your family trust, and that you trust as well. Do you feel that your children always embrace your involvement in community work? Or, because, as a young adult, a teen, you're like, oh, my mom's doing this thing. I gotta go to this thing all the time. Or were they really hands-on in it as well?
They didn't have a choice initially, right? Because, they're young. So 2010, they're 10 and 5, right? So when I'm there, they're there, right? We're going to the Kwanzaa celebration. We're going to the meetings. And the beautiful thing is like I said, the sisters I was working with also had children.
Okay.
So they were able to really build communities. Mama Nia, who's one of the co-founders, and she's transitioned now, breast cancer in 2022. But my daughter and her son went to prom together, right? And they were not boyfriend, girlfriend. They were just like, look, I ain't got a date. You want to go? Our children were literally raised together. And so they loved that. They loved that they had ready-made friends, right? That they had
built-in
community, because it wasn't just dragging around, sitting there watching mommy meet. They had kids to play with. And I was practicing what I preached, right? So they were getting what I was doing in the community. We were doing that at home. Those are the conversations. So they were being raised. And again, they had multiple mamas that they could go to and that who could support them and who could love on them, right? Who could offer a different perspective. So when they became teenagers, they kind of wanted to do, like my oldest daughter really stayed locked in. This is who I am. She went through the rites of passage program. Let's do this. I'm here until she left for college. She went to Morgan State. My youngest daughter, when she got about 13, 15, she was like, can I not go with you to the
the thing,
or like, I'm going to go to work. I have a job. I want to work. So she didn't get too far away, right? She still kind of stayed close by. And if I would say to her, hey, I really need you to come, I need you to, she was like, okay, and now she's in college here in North Carolina. She goes to A&T. And she comes to the Kwanzaa celebration. And the last celebration, we were talking on Kuchi Chakalia, and she was talking of, which is self-determination, the second day, talking about what it means to be a Black woman in STEM. And she's a computer graphics technology major. And so she understands what it means to be part of a village in a different kind of way because she was raised, right? Because they were raised that way. And they are still good friends with my oldest daughter's best friend is Mama Tanya, who I mentioned earlier. The one she said, can I go to ask Mama Tanya? Her daughter and they're best friends. Like we call them the birth of moguls.
It's like you integrated the family, you integrated the village and kind of created this built-in support. Now, you mentioned how you've seen how your service work is reflected in how your girls are now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like they took any bits of your community organizing, your dedication for community, and are applying it to their current journey, whether career or personal?
Absolutely.
Are they involved in school or are they involved in their community?
Yes. My oldest daughter graduated from college. She was very active. She was in hospitality and she was very active in there's a NABHOOD.
Mm-hmm.
National Association of Black Hotel Operators and Developers, I think it stands for. I'm sure somebody listening will know. Oh, never. She went to conferences. She made connections. She was really excited. She was also very active in the National Council of Black Negro Women, National Council of Negro Women. And so she loves being Black, right? That's the thing that I feel that they both have really grasped.
Like that pride.
The pride in being
I
Black,
love that
Blackness. I remember my oldest daughter, she came home from school one day. I think she was like in 3rd grade. And she had a little paper, it was December. She had a little paper Christmas tree cut out. And she said, Ma, they made us, this is what we did in school today. They didn't have no Kanara. So I just colored my tree. The tree was colored red,
Right.
black, and green.
She's like, oh, it's okay. I'll make do.
I created a monster. Goodness gracious. But that's the biggest thing, that they love being Black. They love everything African, that they have. And they are very active. Both of them were active in all the Black organizations in school. My oldest daughter's working on her MBA now. My youngest daughter is, and she's in an organization called Black Girls Code. They just know both of them only wanted to go to HBCUs. And we were looking at college. She was like, do you mind if I go to HBCU? I was like, do I mind? Absolutely. So that was a non-negotiable for them. They had no desire to go to a PWI. So though they wanted to do a lot of the things that I do, that was the one thing they were like, you can have them. You can have them PWIs. I'll go to HBCU.
They're like, no, I know where I am rooted, where I can grow, where I'll be nurtured and watered.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
So you already talked extensively about your things in your career and what you do in your community. I don't want to assume, but did you feel like you ever had to shrink your ambition because of being a mother or because of a certain period in your life where you may have been dealing with a transition? Did you ever compromise something that you really want to do?
What has probably given most was my personal life, like dating, right? So after my divorce, sometimes it can be difficult. There are people who...
We can have a whole nother offline.
Listen, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there were people who don't want to, or intimidated by the doctor, or who would say things like, I'm sorry, don't correct my speech, or are you going to correct my speech? And I'm like, dude, I get paid to do that. I'm not, why would I correct your speech as you're talking? So people make these assumptions because I'm an academic about how I navigate space, right? How I interact with people, that I'm going to constantly be checking the way you talk, or you're not using proper, standard American English. I got no desire to do that. So that was that. There was some dating moments that was difficult. There were some dating moments that were a little yucky, where people really were intimidated, but it really was about, no, this is who I am, and I'm not going to shrink myself for you. I will give you up first.
Hello.
So that was the thing, and realizing that, that there was somebody else out there for me other than these people. So it really was about standing my ground, because I worked too hard for my doctorate. And this career as an educator is who I am. Like, I don't play a professor. Like, that's who I am.
That's who you
I'm
are.
an educator all the time. So if you have a problem with me being an educator or being an academic, you have a problem with me. It's not just the job. And so I'm going to always keep me. You can go.
If I knew this, we could have had a whole conversation, because I am a divorcee as well, happily divorced. But I would say dating while mothering, it's a whole different ball game. Another friend of mine who is a psychologist, she said she was having trouble dating. She's divorced as well. And her father said, just don't tell them you're a doctor.
I thought about it once or twice, but I thought about it, but I never followed.
And it made sense to him. He's like, trust me, just let them get to know you a little bit and then tell them.
That's old school, right? And I never blame an elder when they give you advice, because they're coming from a place of knowing, right? Of his reality. But in this reality, it's a different, right? And so that's the thing, right? I always honor our elders, and I never dismiss what they offer, because again, they're offering from their reality and their knowing.
But you thought about it. You thought about it too.
But I thought about it, and then I said, yeah, that's not, I'm going to lead with that. Because in the getting to know, again, it's hard. It's part of who I am.
Yeah.
I didn't just go to the store one day and buy a PhD. It took me 5 years to get
blood,
this thing.
sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, and tears. It is I'm telling you, I was different after I graduated than when I started. A PhD changes your life. It changes your perspective. So it's a part of who I am. So that people have to, just as people have to accept they have to accept the things about you. And that's a part of me. And I'm not going to hide any of those things, because I'd be doing a disservice to you.
You will.
First of all, I'm not going to
dim your light.
Dim my light. And honestly, don't you want all this? Like, this is fabulous. Why would I keep any of this amazingness from you? It's like, you don't want this? I'm sorry. More for somebody else. It's
exactly.
okay. This is too much for you? I'll take my too much somewhere else. I'm always
Dr.
okay.
Tafari, I can speak to you all. Because we done transitioned from a whole bunch of topics. Because we could talk all day. We're gonna have to talk online. Listen. I'm glad to be on the other side of the dating struggle, but especially as a professional, you coming outside. If I'm meeting you on a Friday, just know I had a full day of work. I had to pack my kids up. I had to make them ready for dinner. I had to do 155 things to come sit in your face and have tacos. So please make it worth my while.
Make it worth my while, because if you are not making my life more pleasant, then there's no need for you.
No, if you're not adding.
Because I'm on the struggle. I've got the hard work. The purpose of this dating thing and partnering, and I'm beautifully partnered now. But the purpose of that is to complement, right? Because there is the thing. I don't need you. Yeah, but do you want to complement? I enjoy companionship. Yeah. So I love being partnered. And that's a beautiful thing, but that needs to work. And my friend Mama J always says, it's got to work if it's working.
Hello.
If it's not working, and it's not working.
Not working. I love, and I'm stealing beautifully partnered from you. So if you see me, hashtag, I'll give you credit.
Partnered. Yeah.
So before I let you go, I want to get into some Pro Mama essentials. Now, I know you made it on the other side. I have littles, and I'm like, every day I come up. What's the name of the photo of the lady on the bed who's just holding the sides? The blue. This is how I look every day because I got a 7 and 10-year-old. Tell me it gets better. Tell me, what is your favorite parenting hack? If not now for your adult children, but what was something that helped you out back in the day when you had those days? Somebody let me know what that photo is called. I'm going to look it up. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yes, I do.
The tired one.
I do. Sitting on the edge of the bed.
Sitting on the edge of the bed.
So I think that there's a couple of things, right? One is, and I want to say, I saw this meme once on the book of faces, and it said, "And I shall raise my daughters to believe they breathe fire." When we're at work, when we're doing the things, we have themes, we have goals, right? I wanted to raise my daughters to believe they breathe fire. I want them to know that nothing is out of their reach. Absolutely nothing. And so in order to do that, I need to practice what I preach. I needed to be the woman. I needed to be the woman I wanted them to be. And that's it. And so it becomes in your daily walk, practicing what you preach, being
you got a model for them.
Right? Not being human, because they also see me fail, but that's part of it. Letting them see you fail and say, wow, mama made a mistake right here. I shouldn't have done that. But I'm going to pick up and watch me try this again. Activating that village. Again, part of the reason we hear sometimes is because we're not calling that friend who offered to babysit 2 years ago. I call people. Don't volunteer for
don't
some stuff
offer.
like me. I'm her. I'm gonna be like, yeah, remember you had said back in 2006 that if I ever needed you,
if I'm ever in town, I could come stay at your house. When I'm in North Carolina, I'm gonna be like, you remember when you said I could come over anytime?
Listen,
that's Harper, that's Hudson.
I'm telling you, I need 35 good minutes. Let me put the dogs up. Let me just sweep a little bit. You got it. If I'm here, the space is yours, and I mean that. But for real, so I think that's it. It's being fearless, having a goal, wanting your children to just be fearless, and then living that way.
Yeah.
So that they can see you, because y'all know children, they see everything. So when children are doing wild stuff, we got to look at ourselves and be like, oh, dang, that's my fault.
Okay. All right. When I'm working on my emotional regulation and my daughter is too, I'm like, yeah, that's little Fee. I'm sorry.
That's little Fee.
We're going to help her. I'm working on little Fee right now so that my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And know who you can tag in when they are working your nerves, right? Because that's just human. You're human. And sometimes you're like, you know what? I need a break from you.
I don't know if you know, I'm mom with my mom. So I am the only child, and I'm so grateful to have a mom in my life. And you know what? It's not until adulthood I realized everyone don't have a good relationship with their mom. So when I hear that, I'm always floored, because when I tell you my mom is my rider, Like,
That's
my
awesome.
mom is my ride or die. And I know she loves these. I know I have friends and stuff who will watch my kids, but my number one person is my mom. Why? Because I can literally unlock and don't think about my kids when they're
Yeah.
with my mom. I don't
Yeah.
have to call them. I don't have to do a thing.
Right. Right. That's
So she
awesome.
knows when I
Yes,
need a
mama.
break, that's,
That's mama. We love a mama.
yes, we love a mama.
And you're right. And even if people don't have that person in your life who you tag in. Have that person in your life who you tag in. And make sure that you avail yourself for them when it's needed.
For sure.
We can't
Yes.
just be tagging in, and then when they
Yes.
need you, you like, girl, I'm too busy.
No, for
That's
sure.
not the village, right?
Yeah.
The village is give and take. So
It's
yeah.
so funny because I have one of my closest girlfriends, one of my best friends. She has a fur baby, right? And she's my son's godmother. And one day I had like spent the weekend at her house because she was traveling, and I was watching her dog. And somebody was like, "You got 2 kids and you over at your friends watching her dog?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because when I go away, she'll come and watch my kids." Like, just because it's the same thing.
The village. You can't play village. You either
can't
in the
play.
village or you not. If you don't want the give and the take,
And
then
the
go
take.
over there. But if you're trying to be in the
Absolutely.
village, you got to give as much as you get. You got to.
Yes. All
Yes.
right. So we're going to go to, what is your go-to act of self-care right now?
Girl, a hot bath. So,
That could be it too. I was going to say, your skin is glowing. What is the secret? Is it a facial? Because what is the act of the self-care?
You know what? I'm a strict vegetarian. And
You got the cheat code.
For 25 years. December 4th, 2000, I had salmon teriyaki. That was the last piece of meat I ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, December 4th, 2000. So I think that helps. People say, I think that helps. And it's real simple. My thing is, you notice I don't do a full beat. Like I don't put too much on it, right? So I'm a lipstick. Like you getting 3 things from me. You getting a little mascara. You getting a little shiny eyeshadow, just a little bit, and you getting the lip. That's about it.
That
like
colors everything.
The rest
that
of
wine
is just, there's a great company I love, Black Belt Soap Company, which is Black woman owned. And she has a rose toner. Yeah, rose toner.
Rose water,
spray,
like toner.
And a serum called Revive. And that's it. I wash my skin with black soap on my face, rose toner, Revive. And that is it. And like I said, just the eating. I did a sugar fast not too long ago where I just ate all whole foods. Like literally, like I just ate like a crown of broccoli and I put it in a pan with some coconut oil and some onion powder, garlic powder. I swear it was smelling like fried chicken. I promise you.
You remember how that smelled? You remember how?
I remember. And so I will do things like that. I'll do a green smoothie cleanse, whenever I need it, I'll do a sugar fast. I'll do a salt fast. And I think it's just being mindful about what I eat, right? My Instagram platform is Love, Eat, Build, right? And it's love fully, eat mindfully, right? A lot of time we eat a lot of junk. And I'm not saying I ain't just eat 3 Girl Scout cookies yesterday, right? And I'm probably going to eat 3 more today if they still there. But
snickerdoodles.
It's about being mindful about the things that we eat. And I think that's the main thing that with the skin, because I don't do a whole lot. I don't have a big glamorous
regimen.
Regimen. It's really about what I eat.
All right. And then your active self-care, is it that hot bath or do you do something for yourself? Is it a cup of tea? Is it
That's it. I'm serious. If I went in my other room, I have a tea shelf that I had my father build some shelves for me. And I'm big on my tea. This is my mom mug.
Oh,
right now.
I got it.
Put this one out for the ProMama. For the ProMama.
Yes.
It's really gorgeous.
You know what? ProMama mug's coming soon. I'm going to send you your first one.
I can't wait to get one. I love tea, like hot tea, and I like to let it sit so get it warm, but I love tea. Sometimes I won't even sweeten it. I have some teas that I don't even sweeten so I can really get the flavor. When I travel, I love to travel. And so I have some butterfly pea tea that I got in Bali. I have some tea mixes that I got in Hawaii. So this is a tea I got at a Black Women's Health Collective here in North Carolina. They made their own little brew and it's got like cinnamon and ginger and all kinds kinds of stuff in it.
I love
So yeah,
that.
I love engaging with tea. So a nice cup of tea, yeah, is
I
that's
love that.
probably the thing that I know I'm slowing down and taking good care of myself.
Yeah, some people think it's simple. Even in I'm having a cup of tea now, but as part of my nightly ritual to let my brain know it's time to wind down, I try to be mindful and like smell the tea, hold my cup,
Hmm.
just not rush through
Yeah.
it. Cause the tea at work or
Mhm.
the tea in the morning, it's like nourishment, but like to pause and like enjoy. Right now, I have a great cup of peppermint chocolate tea.
Peppermint tea changed my life.
It's
The first time I had peppermint tea, I was like, "Oh, what just
My
was that
friends
it?"
say I'm the youngest, oldest West Indian person they know because every night time one of my friends call me at night, I'm having either watercress crackers or shortbread cookies with my cup of tea.
Say watercress crackers. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious.
All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yes,
But
I love me a
and
tea.
invest in good teas, quality teas. There's
Yes, for
some
sure,
wonderful
for sure.
black women
And
owned
reading.
companies, right? But nice tea. And I'm not talking about Lipton, right? I'm
No,
talking
no, 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 no. We talk about
I'm
the good
talking
stuff.
good
Next
herbal
time
tea.
you come to New York, we're gonna take a date to Brooklyn Tea.
I can't wait.
They're
I
good.
can't
They're
wait.
pretty good. Black owned as well. All right. And your last one. What is your non-negotiable when it comes to your career and motherhood?
Oh, you don't you don't mess with either one. I'm
Ooh,
an educator all the time. So I absolutely love what I do for a living. I want that for everybody. I go and I hang out with
yes.
college kids all day. Like it is the coolest job ever. And I teach at a HBCU, so I can hang out
Oh,
with black college kids all
that's
day. It is the
amazing.
absolute most wonderful
We
things.
got to talk.
Yeah, I don't my work is my work. It's an extension of who I am. It's not just work, right? I don't go, you hear people say, "Oh, I'm on the plantation." You will never hear me say that because
Oh, don't
I
even use
love
them
what
words.
I do. I'm like, yikes. So it's my career. And this is also how I pay the bills. I take care of my family, right? My dad lives with me. My mom is close by. I have
I
two
love that.
young adult children who, stay in my pockets. They are definitely my broke besties. So I take care of people and I have acquired a certain lifestyle that I also like to maintain. So never interfere with my career. Like I said, there's certain things I can let go and my career is never one of them. It's me or the job. Well, I'm choosing the job because,
Mm-hmm.
and again, not because it's a job, but because it's what I do. It's what I love to do.
It
And not
fills your
everybody has
bucket.
that. I know
Yeah,
that. That's a
that's
privilege.
that's amazing to have, to wake up
Yeah.
and really enjoy it and to feel
Yeah.
like it's a calling and a passion. Like,
Absolutely.
even me, I always say that sometimes I have a hard time finding my purpose in what I
Mm.
do. Like, big picture, everyone's like, "Oh, that's so cool. You've been at this place for so long. You work in a nice office." But then I'm like, what is my purpose? Which is part of the reason why I kept a promise to myself. One thing that I am passionate about is motherhood, and advocating for mothers
Mm.
and sharing resources. So this is just like one of the stepping stones of how I'm designing my journey. So like twofold, what I do in 9 to 5 might not be a direct reflection, but I do have like new mom colleagues who are like, how did you do this? What did you do on maternity leave?
It
What do
bleeds.
you do here? I have
It
another
bleeds.
colleague who is like, I know your kid is in independent school. How did you do this? So we're still, and even at work, I'm part of an affinity group. It's the Moms of
Mm.
Color, and we share resources. Like, how do you ask your boss for an extra remote day? Like, my kids have 2 weeks of spring break because they're on an independent school schedule. So, like,
Mm.
everyone is like, and we're all asking at the same time. Like, we have to be on one accord so that it can reach some consistency, right? So, like, my vision is to like really, really build resources to help working women advocate for themselves and to help employers really get what we need. And it's not a monolith. We all need different things, but there's certain flexibilities that we just need. The school day and the work day have not come together. The kids get
Yeah.
out at 3, we get out at 5. For those of us who have a traditional 9 to 5. And it still takes people a while to get that mothers or parents need need the flexibility. Not that we want to work less, but this is what we're given. Because if we do want to keep our kids in aftercare, then you got to pay us more because aftercare is a grip. So
That's right. That's right. That's right. So yeah, letting it bleed. I think that's so important, is to bring who you are into everything that you
everything.
do. That's what people get. You're gonna get me. You're gonna get me everywhere. Like
Yeah.
I navigate different spaces and I'm always the same. I may be doing
So
different. I may be,
true.
different talking. Sometimes I'm a switch hitter, right? So I may switch up my speech a little bit. When I'm with my homegirls, I'm gonna talk a little different than when I'm on campus talking to the chancellor, right?
Yeah.
So that's different, but I'm always me. And so with you bringing into it at work, talking about what it means to be a pro mama and sharing that thing and letting that bleed, that's the way to just be your whole full self. That's the way. And then you never know, this pro mama, this is just
Oh
the
no.
beginning, sis.
It's just the
This
beginning.
is
I
just the
feel it. I feel
beginning.
it for sure.
Yes.
Hicks Tafari, thank you so much for this. You filled my cup. You're one of those people that whenever I speak to you, whenever I hear with you, it's just that energizer. You know when what is it called? The defibrillator? When you're like,
Yeah.
you need just a jolt. Like
It brings you back to life.
like I feel like I literally have goosebumps because I'm like, wow, to have a career where you feel so passionate about, where you feel like you go in and walk in your purpose. Like, it's great to see. I'm so
It feels
honored
good.
that you're able to spend this morning with me, spend some time with me, drop those amazing nuggets. 20 and 25 seems far from me. But I know every mama tells me it was just yesterday. Enjoy the
It's
time
crazy.
now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I tell my daughter every day, and my son too, this is my first time being a mother of a 10-year-old. And then when you turn 11, it's going to be my first time being a mother of an 11-year-old. I am learning. I do not know how to do this thing. And the same thing, my mother's like, "Ooh, it was so different with you. You didn't give me this. You didn't give me that." I'm like, yeah, it's different. Everything is different. Everyone's
Crazy.
journeys is different. We just all here sharing information, just throwing things at the wall, hoping it sticks.
That's hilarious.
Yes,
And
but
that's a fact. Yeah.
yep. And here I am. And I feel like on the days where I feel like I'm not thriving as a mother, it's women like you who tell me I'm doing a great job. And I really love and appreciate that. On a day where you just feel like defeated and you get that heart, or look at them beautiful babies, or you're doing a great job.
Doing a great
It
job.
seems little, but it really helps. It really
Yeah.
helps.
It really does. And when in doubt, take a nap. Everybody take a nap.
Everybody's going to sleep. The
Everybody
dog,
take a
the
nap.
cat, the kids, everybody taking that.
And me too. I'm
And
taking
me.
a nap too. We
Yes.
all taking everybody taking a nap.
Oh, I love you so much. Thank you again. I can't wait to share this with everybody. They're going to be like, why do they key it so much? Because this is community. What you're seeing right now is community in action. This is
That's
real.
right.
And whatever, I don't know how I can help you in any way, but I'm here to reciprocal. And when you come to town, we have a tea date.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
Love you much.
Love you. Take care now.